After defeating the Harvesters, the Galactic Guardians enjoyed a brief period of peace. But that peace was shattered when a new villain, Karmen, emerged from the shadows. A brilliant and ruthless strategist, Karmen possessed the unique ability to manipulate gravitational fields, bending reality and crushing anyone in her path. Karmen was after a secret artifact known as the Celestial Core, rumored to grant control over the fundamental forces of the universe. With this power, Karmen planned to reshape galaxies according to her Vision 1, where only the strongest survived, and the weak were left to suffer in the gravitational chaos. The Guardians Rocket Boy Leo, Nova Star, Solflare, and their allies set out to stop Karmen before she could find the core. But her gravitational powers made her nearly impossible to stop. Karmen could distort space, rendering attacks useless and disorienting the Guardians in battle. Hellfire and Quantum Shift faced Karmen's elite henchmen, who had similar abilities to warp gravity, making even simple movements difficult. Stormbreaker and Draconis were sent to guard the planets Karmen targeted, but they found themselves overwhelmed as gravity itself turned against them. Nova Star and Solflare led a frontal assault on Karmen, only to be caught in a deadly gravitational trap that threatened to crush them under the weight of collapsing space. Realizing they needed a new strategy, Rocket Boy led the team in devising a way to counter Karmen's gravitational control. By combining their powers in a synchronized move, they planned to reverse the gravitational distortions and weaken her hold on reality. In a final showdown, the Guardians confronted Karmen near the Celestial Core. Karmen unleashed the full extent of her power, creating a vortex that threatened to tear the Guardians apart. But with their enhanced complex impact powered by their combined forces, they managed to disrupt the gravitational field long enough to reach Karmen. In a climactic moment, Rocket Boy delivered a final blow, destabilizing Karmen's control over the core. Defeated but still defiant, Karmen was forced to flee, vowing that she would return stronger than ever. Though the Guardians had won the day, the threat of Karmen still lingered. They knew she would return, and with the knowledge she had gained from the Celestial Core, her next attack would be even more devastating. As they prepared for the challenges ahead, the Guardians remained vigilant, ready to protect the universe from the forces of chaos and destruction.
After defeating Karmen, the Galactic Guardians thought they had ended her reign of chaos. Unbeknownst to them, Karmen had evolved, gaining new powers to manipulate both gravity and time. With her sights set on revenge, she aimed to capture the Celestial Core to enhance her abilities to godlike levels. Realizing the threat Karmen posed, the Guardians Rocket Boy Leo, Nova Star, Solflare, Stormbreaker, Hellfire, Quantum Shift, and Draconis knew they needed to evolve as well. They sought out ancient mentors to learn new techniques and enhance their powers. Rocket Boy harnessed the energy of supernovae, allowing him to create bursts of light to disrupt Karmen's gravitational fields. Nova Star enhanced her cosmic abilities to manipulate light, creating illusions that could confuse Karmen. Solflare mastered solar flares, burning through Karmen's gravitational storms. Stormbreaker called upon the energy of storms, amplifying his lightning powers against Karmen's time manipulation. Hellfire merged her infernal flames with time energy, developing a new attack, Temporal Inferno. Quantum Shift evolved his abilities to create pockets of slowed time, aiding the team in battle. Draconis summoned elemental powers, enhancing his control over nature. With their new abilities, the Guardians prepared for Karmen's return. When she attacked, her gravitational storms froze entire star systems, leaving chaos in her wake. In the climactic battle near the Celestial Core, Karmen unleashed her power, but the Guardians coordinated their evolved skills to counter her. Rocket Boy and Nova Star created a blinding light that disrupted Karmen's control over time. As Karmen readied her most devastating attack, Hellfire and Quantum Shift executed Temporal Inferno, engulfing her in flames that twisted time, slowing her movements. With Karmen disoriented, Solflare and Stormbreaker unleashed a powerful storm of solar energy, breaking through her defenses. Rocket Boy seized the moment and delivered the final blow, defeating Karmen. Though she fled, vowing to return stronger, the Guardians knew their fight against chaos was far from over. They had grown stronger together, prepared for the next challenge that awaited them in their ongoing battle to protect the galaxy.
After their battle with Karmen, the Galactic Guardians enjoyed a brief respite. But the peace was short-lived when a new threat emerged, Evolux, a malevolent being who could evolve by absorbing the abilities of defeated foes. Evolux aimed to collect the powers of the Guardians, turning their strengths against them. As Evolux unleashed chaos across the galaxy, the Guardians quickly realized they were facing a unique challenge. The villain demonstrated the ability to replicate their powers, making him a formidable opponent. Each time they fought him, he became stronger and more unpredictable. Evolux began by absorbing the energy of Solflare, gaining control over solar flares, which he used to create powerful blasts that could rival her own. He then confronted Quantum Shift, absorbing his time manipulation abilities and creating time distortions that disoriented the Guardians during their battles. With every encounter, Evolux continued to evolve, mimicking Nova Star's cosmic powers and using them to create blinding light storms. Realizing they needed to work together, the Guardians sought to outsmart Evolux. They devised a plan to lure him into a trap, knowing that his powers relied on absorbing their abilities. They baited him with illusions crafted by Nova Star, making it appear as though they were vulnerable. In a climactic showdown, the Guardians faced Evolux in the Nebula of Shadows, a realm where light and darkness intertwine. As Evolux attempted to absorb their powers once again, the Guardians unleashed a coordinated attack. Rocket Boy used his supernova energy to illuminate the battlefield, creating a blinding light that temporarily incapacitated Evolux. Hellfire combined her infernal flames with Draconis's elemental powers, generating a wave of fire and wind that forced Evolux back. With his newfound control over solar energy, Solflare unleashed a barrage of solar flares that kept Evolux on the defensive. In a desperate attempt to absorb Rocket Boy's powers, Evolux launched a final attack, but the Guardians anticipated his move. Quantum Shift created a pocket of slowed time, allowing Rocket Boy to unleash the full force of his energy in a concentrated blast, striking Evolux at his core. Defeated and unable to absorb any more powers, Evolux crumbled into energy, vowing that he would return in an even more powerful form. Though they triumphed, the Guardians understood that Evolux's threat was far from over. They remained vigilant, aware that in a universe filled with darkness, new villains would always emerge, and they would need to continue evolving to protect the galaxy.
Following their victory over Evolux, the Galactic Guardians faced a terrifying new threat, Dr. Doom, a tyrant from an alternate dimension. Armed with both advanced technology and mystic knowledge, Dr. Doom sought to conquer the multiverse, starting with the Guardians universe. He had discovered the powerful Dimension Key, an artifact that could reshape realities at will. Doom unleashed his mechanical army of Doombots, adaptable and nearly indestructible. As worlds fell under his control, the Guardians Rocket Boy Leo, Nova Star, Solflare, Stormbreaker, Hellfire, Quantum Shift, and Draconis rushed to stop him. But Doom's combination of science, magic, and tactical genius outmatched them in their first battle, where he nearly trapped the team in a collapsing dimension. Realizing brute force wasn't enough, the Guardians sought allies and found the Eternity Stone, the only artifact capable of neutralizing Doom's Dimension Key. Time was running out as Doom's forces expanded, threatening to collapse entire dimensions. The Guardians infiltrated Doom's fortress in a desperate mission. Using Quantum Shift's time control, Stormbreaker's elemental power, and Nova Star's cosmic energy, they fought their way through the legions of Doombots. In the final confrontation, Doom warped reality, using the Dimension Key to keep the Guardians disoriented. But Rocket Boy, Nova Star, and Solflare combined their powers to disrupt Doom's control long enough for Quantum Shift to use the Eternity Stone, neutralizing the Dimension Key. With Doom's power weakened, the Guardians launched a final assault, shattering his armor. Defeated, Doom retreated into the multiverse, vowing to return stronger than ever. The Guardians had saved their dimension, but they knew that with Dr. Doom's ambition, the multiverse would never be truly safe. Prepared for future threats, they remained vigilant, ready for the next challenge.
After their clash with Dr. Doom, the Galactic Guardians faced an unexpected and terrifying new foe, Ghostface, a sinister, masked villain from another dimension who specialized in psychological torment and stealth. This rival brought a wave of horror and paranoia as Ghostface began stalking the Guardians, picking them off one by one in a series of deadly traps and illusions. Ghostface wasn't like their previous enemies. He didn't fight with raw power, but with fear and manipulation. He used technology to cloak himself, becoming nearly invisible, and he wielded weapons capable of striking without warning. The Guardians, used to fighting cosmic scale threats, found themselves unnerved by this insane killer who thrived in the shadows. As Ghostface terrorized their ranks, the Guardians turned to an unexpected ally, Sidney Prescott, a legendary survivor from Ghostface's own dimension who had faced a masked killer countless times. Before Ray, Sidney brought with her not only her experience but her unshakable resolve, having outwitted and survived multiple Ghostface attacks in her world. Together, Sidney and the Guardians devised a plan to lure Ghostface into the open. Sidney shared her knowledge of his tactics. He thrived on fear, deception, and splitting his victims apart. The Guardians had to stay united and focus on teamwork to counter his mind games. In a harrowing showdown, Ghostface lured Rocket Boy and Nova Star into an abandoned space station, using psychological tactics to exploit their fears. He set deadly traps throughout the station, forcing the heroes to face their worst nightmares. But with Sidney's help, they overcame the fear and saw through the illusions. As Ghostface moved in for the kill, Sidney and the Guardians coordinated a counterattack, using Quantum Shift's time manipulation to slow him down and expose his weaknesses. Solflare and Stormbreaker unleashed a barrage of energy that disabled his cloaking tech, forcing Ghostface into a direct confrontation. Cornered, Ghostface revealed that he had come to this dimension to destroy the Guardians on behalf of a mysterious benefactor, hinting at an even greater threat lurking in the shadows. But before he could enact his final plan, Sidney delivered the finishing blow, ending Ghostface's reign of terror. With Ghostface defeated, Sidney Prescott returned to her dimension, leaving the Guardians grateful for her help. However, the warning Ghostface left behind lingered in their minds. There were darker, more sinister forces at play, and the Guardians had only just begun to uncover them. As the Guardians prepared for their next mission, they remained united, knowing that fear and manipulation would no longer be their undoing. But they also knew that a new, more dangerous enemy was already waiting in the wings.
After defeating Ghostface, the Galactic Guardians were left with an unsettling mystery: who had hired Ghostface to destroy them. That question was soon answered when a new villain revealed himself. The Mastermind, a strategic genius who had been orchestrating chaos from the shadows. The Mastermind's plan had been in motion for months. He was not after the Guardians' powers, but their destruction, both physically and mentally. With his network of spies and manipulators, he sought to acquire the reality Nexus, a powerful artifact that could reshape the universe itself. His strategy was simple: weaken the Guardians and divide them, making them easy prey. The Guardians Rocket Boy Leo, Nova Star, Solflare, Stormbreaker, Hellfire, Quantum Shift, and Dracona soon found themselves on the defensive. The Mastermind had anticipated their every move, planting traps and creating illusions that caused confusion among the team. His psychological tactics worked. Nova Star doubted her decisions, Quantum Shift hesitated to use his powers, and even Rocket Boy began to feel the strain. The Mastermind's ability to control information allowed him to constantly stay one step ahead. His drones spied on their every move, while his army of cyber wraiths attacked from the shadows. His real power, however, was manipulation. He used old wounds and fears to sow discord, convincing the Guardians that they were more of a danger to each other than to him. But the Guardians realized that brute force wouldn't work against the Mastermind. They needed to beat him at his own game. With the help of their ally, Sidney Prescott, the Guardians faked a division, making it appear as though they were falling apart. Believing his plan had succeeded, the Mastermind came out of hiding to claim the reality Nexus. In the final battle, the Mastermind used the reality Nexus to warp the battlefield, altering gravity, time, and space in an attempt to overwhelm the Guardians. However, they were prepared. Quantum Shift stabilized time, Stormbreaker and Solflare neutralized the environmental distortions, and Rocket Boy led a coordinated attack on the Mastermind's control device. In a desperate move, the Mastermind tried to reshape reality itself, but Nova Star used her cosmic powers to sever his connection to the Nexus, leaving him vulnerable. Rocket Boy delivered the final strike, shattering the Mastermind's armor and capturing him before he could escape. The Mastermind was defeated, but not without warning. He revealed that there were other forces at play greater than even him that sought control of the multiverse. Though victorious, the Guardians knew that more challenges lay ahead and that their greatest battle was yet to come. The universe was safe for now, but the Guardians stood ready, knowing that darkness was always lurking just beyond the next horizon.